Hey, you're back in the garage with TheEZGZ. It's a beautiful winter morning. Just for giggles and for my own entertainment, I thought I'd get the camera out and kind of document this and let people know how things are progressing. I got it out here on the grass just to get it out of the garage, clean the garage floor and so forth. But I'm going to do a lot of my grinding, as much grinding as I can. These die grinders, man, do they work good and fast, but they just throw off all these little fine little slivers, and that's why I'm wearing these nitrile gloves and then leather gloves over that. So anyhow, thought I'd let you take a look at it. It's done as far as frame. There's going to be a few little modifications here and there, but I kind of got things welded and where I want it, and got to put the seats in frequently, and the gas tank is mounted. This is temporary, and there's a long story that goes behind this dishwashing basket. Oh, I hope my buddy is looking at this. We were coming back from the sand dunes in California, coming back to Colorado. We stopped out in the desert to do a little tinkle and look at those, oh, what do they call those cool cactus, you know, that stand up out there, Samoyas or something like that. They're huge, and when you get right up next to them, you really see how big they are. Here's another little story. This piece is stainless steel. Huh? This is stainless steel. The gas tank is stainless steel. It's shiny. I did not order anything yet for this project, not a single thing. It's all been taken out of stock. Maybe a few nuts and bolts and stuff, but that's about it. And this piece of stainless steel, a friend of mine who was a tinner came up with this idea. We had these first gen Dodge diesel trucks, and the Getrag trannies would run hot when we were towing over passes and stuff. So his idea was it was four-wheel drive. You had the transfer case down there in the frame, and they sat up a little higher. So he made this in order to create an air scoop to push more air up and around the transmission. And sure enough, it actually did cool the transmissions down. So I never did install mine. He gave it to me. It's been sitting in my garage for many years. And I thought to myself, it was behind my toolbox, leaning up against the wall with a bunch of lumber. And I looked at that and I says, you know, I love having a flat spot on the back of my tub buggy, my little Manx replica car. It's got some storage in the back, and I put a piece of aluminum and extension kind of for weather protection, and make an emergency seat if somebody needed to sit on it. Of course, it was supported all the way around with an 1.5-inch tubing, and this is not. It's just sitting here on my air cleaners. But the size, the sizes would kill me. I could set it on those, take those air cleaner bolts, drill a couple holes up here on both sides, and it makes a neat little spoiler. Looks like a spoiler. We're not going fast enough for that to make any difference whatsoever, but I think it looks cool. And the second thing is, when you're working on the car, especially if you're out in the field, and even when I'm home in the garage, you set things here. It's just a convenient place. You're working down in here, and you set something up here. You got your coffee cup up here. I'm getting this all tracked up. Here is something magical. Do you guys recognize this? Huh? Does anybody out there recognize that? That's a stock Volkswagen exhaust tip clamp. Okay? That's what that is. Now, it fits perfectly around this 1.5-inch pipe. And I'm thinking sometimes, like, putting the oil cooler back here later on if I need it, if I want to try it out before I weld something up, I thought I'll use that to clamp it to it. I was going through some U-bolts and different things that I had, and here's one that really blew me away. The spread on these exhaust clamps, now this would be both halves of one clamp, lines up perfectly with this cutter brake, and I'm having extreme difficulty trying to find an ergonomic location for this to be. I was going to build and weld stuff to it, but again, here it comes. You've got yourself a nice little, and this is actually quite sturdy. I think it would work just fine because you're pushing forward and backwards on the lever to operate individual rear brakes. But I just was blown away, and sadly enough, I can't take credit for that. My girlfriend was over here, and we were trying to come up with something. I was working on a base plate for this to weld it on there, and we started looking at some U-bolts that I had, and she just starts looking around in my garage, and I think this is the most wonderful thing. When you have somebody that doesn't have knowledge of every little thing, their mind is more open and creative. She says, what about this thing? Can you use this? Will that fit? And we set it over here, and it went around the pipe, and oh my goodness. I just, I love it when a plan just sort of falls together like that. So now I've got clearance both ways, and I have to get started on that. I need to get, this is an old pedal assembly and box, and I crumpled it up in a panic stop. I think I remember this getting all kinked up, and I put it in the vise and kind of straightened it out, but it wadded up. So I may have to add some more metal in there. I'm going to try to make the cable work. I'm going to use the Bowden tube and make a bracket down there so it doesn't saw through my side of my transmission. Hydraulic clutches are fine for certain situations, but personally I have a lot more feel with a cable clutch, stock type clutch. Oh, that's not the Bowden tube, that's the emergency brake. So anyhow, yeah, so I'm going to be pulling these seats out and working on these welds and cleaning them up a little bit on the top side. But yeah, no, this engine does not have a spot for a fuel pump, a stock fuel pump. It was a later fuel injected case, so they just eliminated the hole altogether. Let's kick out a step. So yeah, I'm gonna have to use my electric fuel pump. I'm off the engine stand, and the battery's not gonna sit there. I just set it up there because when I go to put the car back in the garage, I can't get it over that little step by myself. Not with fully dressed like this with the engine on the back. Once I get the tire just up and over, but I can't manage it by myself. So I use a starting motor, put it in gear, and crank it with a remote starter button, and it just boop goes up over it and into the garage. But I wanted to get it out here in the sunshine and make a little short video for you guys. I'm real pleased with how it turned out. The top, I kind of cut myself off as far as storage, but you know, if you don't have the storage, you're not going to haul it with you, and it's just less stuff. And this basket, of course, this is just temporary. I'm just kind of assessing how it's going to set, what I'm going to do, but I can see through it. It won't trap the sand. And you know, if you got a jacket or you want to carry a few supplies, I usually carry a lunchbox up in front and bungee it down, and you always forget to put the lid on it and take off, and then you have to stop. But if you've got a jacket or something, I like to carry a spare distributor, an air compressor, a tow strap, a few hand tools, just to get myself by. And yeah, you need someplace to do that. But what is the purpose of this car? Why does this car exist? Because I have 16 transmissions in my garage that I do not know the condition of all of them. I forgot which one was which. I had them stored in a neighbor's shed. The house got sold. I had to move them home. I've been tripping over them for the last year. And it's like, I don't want to throw away anything good, but I need something to put them in and test them. This car probably, if it's set up for sand, will not use this stock IRS rear end. And I think maybe it'd be worth making a whole video on off-road suspension, used and stock, the pros and cons about stock versus 3x3s and Porsche CVs and so on and so forth. So I'll save that for another video. This one's, I'm jabbering too much. And this is just a, this was a tie rod experiment, the short tie rod. And I'm thinking about putting a bracket up here and use it for a reinforcement and take that plate. I got the aluminum hang plate in there and the tabs welded for that, but the horns currently on a stock vehicle, including my Baja, that's all that's holding that up. And they make these crossover bars. They go on your shocks and then come down. I'm not sure what they attach it to. I've seen them in magazines. And they use some Heim joints. And it's a good idea if you're going to be rough on your car in rough area or hard cornering, all that sort of stuff. Drag race starts, so on and so forth. Yeah, rubber mount transmissions just will shake all over the place. And I'd also like to run a center mount Weber carburetor in the end. I'm not even going to use this engine. Just happen to have this exhaust. I had it on the engine stand. And yeah, you don't care about all that stuff right now. It's kind of like more about the build. And I'm just, I'm really liking it. Yeah. The other car, let's just go. Sorry, I'm babbling and carrying on like this. The other car's in here and I want to, this engine will end up, this is a 2276. It's got this aluminum fan shroud. It's got the external oil cooler that runs off the stock oil cooler location, so you don't have to worry about fans turning it on and off. If you're going slow, you do need the fan. So this thing is just so heavy and overbuilt, and it just kills me every time I get stuck on a hill. Yeah, and it's just weight. That's all it is. I like the short back, and I thought, well, you know, I could just leave this as short back. I could cut it here, cut it here, cut it here. But all these gussets and reinforcement places, and this is 1/4 inch plate, or at least 3/16, and it's just got weight every place you look on it. It's just super heavy. There's 1.5 inches going down here, and everything is gusseted. This guy, I don't know, he must have had a horrible accent. These things are terrible. They're always in the way. But it's really difficult to clean up all these welds and make the tube look round. And there's holes, I don't know what they had in here. I just don't know. Now, this is a shocker. These side panels fit on my car. Yeah, I thought, well, my car's a shorter wheelbase. This is my car, but my other car. And you can see this little space right here, and they added a piece of sheet metal filler. And when I went over and I set this up against the other car, I had to take the sides off to get the seats out and so forth. And I set it up. It lines up really close, guys. I've never worked with fiberglass, but it's really handy to have a little storage area right here on both sides. You'd be amazed. Jackets, coats, gloves, all kinds of stuff. So I just I love this car. Don't get me wrong. And I did take this gas tank out. This is a 10-gallon gas tank opposed to the 6-gallon that's in there. And that's a lot of weight. I put it in the other car. It does fit in the exact same position. I made sure it was going to interchange. But this car is complete. Runner, bolt the seats down and go any place you want to go. So I'm trying to keep it that way and not pick parts off of it, but I'm trying to also construct the new car so that this engine and accessories, I gotta come up with something better for these breather box. You really do need a crankcase breather, and previously this breather was mounted right here and it was all covered with oil. It gets sucked into the fan, it gets spread around in there, the dirt and the sand gets caught in there. First thing you know, you got an insulating barrier over your fins on your engine. It's not intentional. You don't want to do it. You can clean it up at the car wash, but you don't see what's underneath that shroud building up all the time, and it'll kill you. The coil was up here and the breather box was back here. And currently I'm running the stock fan shroud on that little engine. So, yeah. Just thought I'd give y'all a peek. Yeah, I'm dressed up like a little welder here. I'm trying to keep all that fine metal. It just flies. You can see it in the sunlight. I need to put some bags over those seats, or it gets in India, and it's hard to get those little bits of metal out. Magnifying glass and a very good set of tweezers. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subbing. TheEZGZ out.